The CGA Tour, a podcast unlike any other. Now your host, Calvin Alexander.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the CGA Tour podcast. As always here, I'm your host, Calvin Glenn Alexander. But tonight, it's another Thursday night of recording here in Oklahoma City, so we're back again with another episode of the Big Three in OKC. I'm still your host, Calvin, of course, and I'm joined by Walter Agnich and Joel DeNicolo, a.k.a. Walter Agnich, the bruiser and the driver to the hoop, and Joel DeNicolo, the Laker fan that I know. Sorry, Joel, I haven't seen you play basketball yet, but I am very curious what your basketball nickname will be once we do play against each other at some point.
Walter, you've seen it before. You got one for me?
Yeah. Well, you got kind of a...
Yeah, man, he loves his, we talk about the development of the crossover game in the 2000s. Joel has that patented 2000 Allen Iverson crossover. Yeah, he crossover any
slow motion one.
Well, it's an over-embellished one. If it's where it's going clearly up into the right hand above the head. He'll hit you with that at the top, and then he'll get you down below the block and hit you with another crossover there. Yeah, so crossovers, and of course, not feeding the big man when he picks and pops.
Yep,
that's his other problem.
I'm looking for that big man at the rim, man, not a three-point line. That's where I'm at.
There's nothing wrong with a little pick and pop action, but go ahead, Joel. Go ahead and just take all the points and no assists.
I'm just going to say in a pickup game, I'm definitely trying to score closer to the bucket versus farther away. But that's my game personally, Walter. I know you're a better shooter than I am. At least you have been. We'll see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Walter, every Sunday. We've been playing for a minute now, man. Gotta get you out. We'll see, though. With all that being said, though, I know we've got some topics to cover tonight. So, first off, we want to talk about the worst three of the worst GM jobs for NBA teams right now. Who is the frontrunner for MVP? A Thunder new arena name with their sponsor idea possibilities. And, last but not least, Walter's power rankings of topic to be determined. So, Walter, do you want to take it away here with a worst?
I knew you would come after me, Calvin. The first to go.
I can go first here. I can go first.
I was about to say I've been off for a week. Can you give me a little bit of a break here? Can we go with someone else for? My goodness, at least let me warm into this episode. Let me warm in. It's been a hard travels.
Wait,
You've
been off for a couple weeks.
Darn defensive and offensive here.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you're coming at me with. It's okay. It's just been a long day. I apologize.
Walter, did you really go to Colorado?
Yeah, I went to Colorado for a few days.
Why did you say in the text you want to talk about Kansas? I'm very confused. I know Kansas is on the way to Colorado and on the way back.
Kansas. What can you say about driving to Colorado, driving through Kansas? The only good thing, the only interesting thing, it's a horrible drive, and it's even worse now because there's a bunch of Trump signs. If I could, next time I'm bringing black spray paint and just writing loser on those things. But yeah, there was really no significance of Kansas just driving through except getting annoyed with the Trump signs.
Walter, you got to re-download Snapchat, man. I started to send you a video the other day of seeing a Trump 2020 bumper sticker and then making fun of the person who's basically has a Ohio State 2020 national championship bumper sticker on there.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Calvin. Back in the day, my iPhone had 4 gigs of memory. I had to battle between Snapchat, other apps. So Snapchat had to go. I have this new phone. It's got 60 gigs now, so memory's not so much of an issue. It's more of just downloading it again, which is problematic at times.
Walter, you being a little bit too much dramatic about this, or what?
All right.
I'm not.
The worst.
I'm sorry.
Jobs.
I apologize, right? Calvin. My bad.
You're good.
Long day.
You're good. Long day. Trip. Tired. All type of stuff.
Yeah.
Anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an anniversary. Yeah, there was. Your anniversary, Joe.
2 months ago for Walter. I don't know. I'll say it here. I think one of the worst GM jobs of looking at everything here is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't think anyone's going to necessarily disagree with me too much here. One, you've got a tough decision with Cat. One, he's not playing at like a superstar, all-star every single year in, year out level. 2, he doesn't stay healthy for all that long. 3, you've also got new ownership coming in here too, so that's going to be tough to deal with as well too. New ownership immediately, high expectations, et cetera, all type of stuff, right? So I've got the Timberwolves here as one of the worst 3. I'm going down to number 1 though, so I think they're the 3rd worst GM job to take over today in the league. Joel, what about you? We'll let Walter go last.
Yeah, 100% agree, man. I mean, we're really rewinding the time on the clock, man, to really remember the last time they won an actual playoff series. You guys remember what year that was?
I don't.
The Timberwolves?
Yeah, Minnesota Timberwolves. The last time they won a playoff series.
It was with Wally Zerbiak right before they played the Lakers and lost.
Good job, Walt. Man, you're a smart man.
Here we go.
Yep, good old Wally. Hey, that sounded like a name drop. Is that a name drop candidate of the night?
Wally Zerbiak. Dude, I feel like he was prepared for that one.
Oh, man. I loved him in this coverage of the NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. Miami University himself, man. Yeah, but you are correct. Back in the Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell, KG days, man. Long time removed. Since 2004 is the last time the Minnesota Timberwolves have won a playoff series. That's unbelievable. I know you guys are a lot younger than me. How old were you guys in 2004?
We were 11.
Yes.
11 years old.
Yep, finishing up 4th grade.
So this is obviously this season. They're of course not making the playoffs, making it 17 seasons in a row with no playoff series wins, and they've had some nightmare seasons in there, including obviously this year. I mean, they had a 15-67 season, a 17-65, a 16-66. They're obviously 16-44 this year. I mean, those are horrific years, and the trend obviously, like Calvin had mentioned, it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. Obviously, you got a little spark with oh my goodness, wow, I'm really slipping. What's our top draft pick out of Georgia?
Anthony Edwards.
Wow, you want my name drop almost fell out of my mouth. Guess what I almost said? I almost said Anthony Bennett.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, no, don't say that. That's not right. So with Anthony Edwards really putting on a show, especially in the second half of the season, obviously it's a team headed south and a young kid getting to really show and display his talents. But still, I don't see the combination working. Cat, I feel like he needs to go get a new surroundings. Man, they brought in D'Lo, and that had a lot of expectations because they supposedly had chemistry together, and we got D'Lo coming off the bench, and Minnesota's that's a tough job. Not to mention, obviously, just the geographic area of the United States. Nobody wants to be in the cold. Man, did you guys see PJ Tucker yesterday? I know he's not in Minnesota, but did you guys see what he did?
Oh, wow. Talk about a segue there.
Sorry about that. But no, I mean, it leads into the climate and the geography of Minnesota. Obviously, PJ Tucker, recently has joined Milwaukee. Yeah. Man, he was upset about the snow that was going down yesterday. And that's a player that's obviously
unaware that Milwaukee gets snow?
Exactly. But you got to remember, he's been in, obviously, Houston for quite a few years and in Phoenix. And I think that plays a big role. Right? From Texas. Going up north, it's not attractive, man. Unless you're from the north, you don't want to be in the north. And so I think that just adds into the challenges of Minnesota.
Speaking as somebody who has lived in a year recently in Detroit, I would much rather live in Oklahoma with Oklahoma's weather.
Says a lot.
Than Detroit's weather. Now, I will say that with this caveat. I have not lived in Michigan for a whole summer, so I have not seen both. But the winters in Michigan are forever. So that's just, not that too much. I know Walt had something too here.
Yeah, no, just adding on to the winter. Last week visiting Colorado, I left Oklahoma City, shorts, T-shirts, and flip-flops. I got into Colorado, 6 inches of snow and 20-degree weather. So, I am tired of the snow. I'm right there with you, PJ. That was very difficult.
Yeah. All right. So you also have the Timberwolves here, Walter. Who do you have?
Yeah, I just this is kind of weird. It makes me kind of itchy here. I've got the Timberwolves at number 3 also. Obviously, they let me down. I said they'd make the playoffs. The reason I don't have them at number 1 is like you guys said, Anthony Edwards is a player. We all know D'Angelo Russell is a player and Cat's a player. If they happen to get the first pick and get Cade Cunningham or another piece like that, move D'Lo to the shooting guard, that does seem like, I know I shot myself in the foot the beginning of the season, said they were going to make the playoffs, but man, that just seems like a team that could turn it around. So that's why they're not my absolute worst, just because of that fact that they actually could get the first pick. And I know it really didn't help them this year, but maybe it will next year. And then also, it's kind of cool having Alex Rodriguez kind of own part of the Timberwolves there. Really funny that Anthony Edwards didn't know who he was. I think that was the best part. And
I just got to say here,
hard to believe.
How can you arguably throw a baseball 100 plus miles an hour? Or 100 miles an hour, right? Anthony Edwards like, it's going to be 1 month and I can throw 100 again like he has in the past. I didn't know that. And how can you clearly play baseball but not know who A-Rod is? I mean, is he that much younger than we are? Are we now old?
Yeah, no, there's definitely. But the best part is obviously Alex brought it up to J-Lo and said, J-Lo, honey, I want to buy part of this NBA team. And she said, no, you're not. Because it's in Minnesota, cold, snow, and he said, "No, I'm buying the team." And she
said, "I'm out. I'm not.
She took a line from Beyonce and said, "Everything in a box to the left" for Alex. So, was buying the Timberwolves worth it? Breaking up with J-Lo? I mean, one would say that they probably were going to break up anyways, but I don't know. She's definitely not Shakira. I'll tell you that. So maybe it was okay.
I'm going to say it was a makeup thing. Whenever A-Rod got depressed after this, he went, and I couldn't get the Mets either. Screw it. What team can I buy? And then went after
Now, Shakira tells you, you're not buying this team. Joel, you are not buying the team. That's as simple as that.
I wish Walter would use me as an example since I'm the single guy of the three of us. But anyways.
Calvin, well, okay, but Joel loves Shakira just as much as I do. That's the reason why I looped him in.
Fair enough. Okay.
This is true. I had to hear about her every Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday as we were leaving, he had to shout her name as we were exiting work.
Shakira.
Not surprised. Walter, do you want to take the next one, or you want me to come back here with the...
Coming in at number 2, I have a team that shouldn't be on this list, but I've got the Orlando Magic. Now, I love Marvel. I love that they're sponsored by Disney. I love Universal Studios. I love Disney World. And it's in Florida. I don't understand how they can't have any success. I mean, they had success with Dwight Howard, which I guess was a little bit... it hasn't been as long as the Timberwolves. But this team is in... I mean, what pieces they did have, they blew it up. So, I do have... the Orlando Magic, as much as it pains me, because I feel like this shouldn't be as difficult as they make it.
See, I would disagree with you there a lot, just because honestly, before then they also had Shaq and Penny, and they do play in Orlando. So they were in the playoffs recently. They've won a playoff game recently.
They won a playoff game.
And, well, I say all of this with the caveat here is like. Last year, they were in the playoffs. Like, the other two teams, like, we're only doing the worst 3 NBA GM jobs. If we're doing the worst 10, I would expect the Magic to be one of the 10, for sure. But if we're doing the worst 3, like, I got 2 more names on my list who are much higher right now as far as worst GM jobs. So, Joel, what about you? I mean, are they on your list?
Orlando did not make my 3, no. But I do have 2 other northern United States teams. The next one I have, and Calvin kind of set it up for me, is Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
Ever since, unfortunately, they did defeat and ultimately broke up my beloved Lakers back in 2004 with an overwhelming finals showing a 4-1 series. Obviously, they came back the following year, lost to the Spurs in the finals. And then they've kind of just steadily decreased since then. And just like the Timberwolves, not far off, they are also 13 seasons in a row, including this year, obviously not making the playoffs this year, without a playoff series win. That is tough. And in that time, they did make the playoff 3 times, but they couldn't even squeak out a single win in 3 different of those series over that 13-year span. So I think the Detroit Pistons are obviously in a tough spot. Obviously, they have made some moves. Of course, they were able to, I don't want to say get rid of, because I think the guys got rid of the Pistons, and that would be Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin. But the team is obviously getting much, much younger. And when you're resetting, obviously that's the way to go. They do have a couple pieces, but still trying to get talent back in Detroit. It's just sad because obviously for us, we do remember the good old Detroit basketball.
Oh, yeah, I was playing that a second ago. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not.
Billups.
Yeah, with big shot Billups, man, and you got there it is. Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace, man, Rip Hamilton. That's good. I love the sound effects, man.
Well, Joel, you know who you can credit for ending the Detroit Pistons, right? You know who. It's a very familiar name. It's LeBron James.
Oh, they're going to say Calvin.
Yeah, no, not Calvin. LeBron. I mean, do you remember that?
Hold on a second here. Stop. Hit the brakes. I had nothing to do with that. If anything, I brought a fellow guy who had worked in Oklahoma for several years with me, or got him to come join me here to Detroit, who has completely changed over the roster and only left Sekou Doumbouya on it from the previous year. But go ahead, Walter.
That was very impressive, Calvin, by the way. Yes, you did. You had a big impact, an Oklahoma impact. Once you came there, they realized we need more Oklahomans.
They did, which they got, of course, Troy Weaver. I disagree with Joel here as well, just because I think Detroit would, objectively speaking here, be like the 4th or 5th that I have. The reasons why they're not is because they have won NBA titles within the past decade. And now, granted, it was century. But they've won an NBA title, period. They've actually won 3. They have a historic kind of past. They play in a brand new arena, a brand new practice facility, et cetera, et cetera. But the main thing here is that they have a bunch of just freedom going forward. That no one else owns their draft picks for the next 5 years. They don't have a ton of cap space all taken up by somebody either, by a big name player, etc. All of the cap space, they have Jeremy Grant on what's an affordable, probably tradable deal here. And they also have some good rookies, which Saban Lee looks like the best rookie so far. I think he was the second rounder, or maybe he was the latest first round pick. But they also have Isaiah Stewart, who I get when they were picked confused. But they have Killian Hayes who's come back from injury. So that's why I have the Pistons maybe 4th or 5th, not again, I'm pulling straws here, right? But that's why I have, and I think you guys can probably figure out who I'm hinting at right now, right? I'm saying several things like they don't have a ton of cap space issues, they don't have all their picks. Anyone want to take a guess who I'm going to name here as my second worst NBA GM job? I've used this in 2 different podcast titles. At one point I said, Houston, we have a problem. And then the other podcast title was Houston, we still have a problem. And I'm still here talking about the Houston Rockets. Again, they do not have the decision to control their first round besides some heavily, I'm talking top 4 pick, heavily protected, right? When you got a 6-player draft like this year, you don't want a top 4 protected pick, you want a top 10 protected pick. The Rockets do not have that. They also have a ton of their cap space just tied up in guys who, John Wall's great. He's going to put out a good effort, but he's not going to play in all the games. So that's why I have the Houston Rockets here as the second worst.
Before I go to bed every night, Calvin, I pray that the Rockets get the 5th draft pick. That is a prayer to the man before.
And I just screenshot one of tankathon.com's random selectors every single day, hoping that whenever draft day comes, I'll be able to have something that'll be correct. Because I swear, man, if they luck into the second pick this year or the first pick, that's going to annoy the crap out of me, the Rockets. Because and the Rockets, yes, they have NBA championships, like I said before about the Pistons. But when it comes to splitting hairs here, they have not won an NBA championship with their best player of recent memory, in James Harden, and they had a lot of playoff success, but in an age where if you don't got the chip, you don't have the ring, you don't have anything. The Rockets they went far, but man, randomly Russell Westbrook comes to comes to Houston, sucks, goes to a different team, and does a bunch better statistically speaking, which Joel will have more on that later for you here. But I guess I was last year with this one, so I'm going again. And the worst NBA GM job in the league is the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah! What a pick, Calvin. Yeah, let's go.
No.
They have a history of literally never drafting the correct guy. The last guy they drafted correctly was Chris Webber. Then they drafted, of course, Jason White. And I think that actually, they drafted him here.
Chris Webber didn't get drafted by the Kings.
Yeah, he got drafted by the Magic. It was a trade. He got drafted by the Magic.
And then traded to the Warriors. Yep.
And then thank you. Anyways, the Kings, need I say more? They have the longest playoff drought in the NBA.
How many seasons?
14. 14 seasons. Their last appearance in the NBA playoffs was 2006. They have taken countless, and I'm talking countlessly, they have taken the wrong dude to pick in the draft. And I don't mean the wrong dude objectively at the time, if you go back and look, it was the right guy. I'm talking, literally, they're getting laughed out of the building on draft night when they took Nick Stauskas. Right? When they took Jimmer Fredette. Right? So and listen, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I am not an NBA GM. I do not know a bunch of what I'm talking about most of the time here. I act like I do. That's, of course, why we do the podcast. I do not know better than NBA GMs, is what I'm saying, on average. But when there are multiple media members, including people who I've, respected in the media, and also people who I do not respect in their media opinions, too, on both sides here, and both sides say, that's the wrong pick, Kings, I'm willing to go they could have made a better selection. So their history's been bad. They have Marvin Bagley on the roster who knows what they're dealing with. They have De'Aaron Fox locked into a ton of money when it seems like the point guard position is just overloaded in the NBA, where De'Aaron Fox may or may not ever make an All-NBA team. All-Star team, I think he'll make at some point, but All-NBA team, it's really hard to tell, where that's saying that De'Aaron Fox will never be the top 15 player in the league, top 20 if we're going positionless. And that's another tough thing to overcome here, right, as well. The other thing as well here with the Kings is they just, and what kind of what's the nail in the coffin here for them, for me at least, is they don't have a ton of cap flexibility here moving forward. And they're in Sacramento. They're so close to Golden State, but they're so far away at the same point, destination-wise, location-wise, et cetera, et cetera. And at the same point here, you're also not in Detroit or Chicago or Milwaukee, where you're on a lake, listen, Sacramento is the capital of the state of California, a state that I was born in. I am fully aware that Sacramento is a very beautiful area, and probably compared to Oklahoma City, naturally speaking, amongst the general demographic of people in the U.S., they live in Sacramento or Oklahoma City for geographical reasons. But at the same point here, you're in a small market, don't have a lot to choose from, don't have a lot to move on. And you're benefited by being so close to the Bay, but so far away at the same time that your team almost has to draft incredibly well year after year for you to be good, like the Thunder have, when they have not been able to. The Kings haven't been able to do that. We're talking 2006. They haven't been to a playoffs since 2006. So, Walter, I guess who's your number one?
Wait.
Or Joel, or what? Because I'm assuming you guys are going to bring up your disagreements with my pick when you say yours, right? That's why.
You know what I mean? All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Walt. Sorry, my bad.
No, yeah, I was just, I applauded your decision, Calvin, meaning I agreed with you. It's so bad with the Kings that Luka Doncic said, do not draft me, I'm not coming over. I would rather play overseas than have to play for your terrible team. That's all you have to say about how bad it is to be they've hit, since 2010, they've hit on two players, De'Aaron Fox and DeMarcus Cousins, Thomas Robinson, the fifth pick, Ben McLemore, Nick Stauskas, Willie Cauley-Stein.
They hit on Isaiah Thomas. They had him on the roster.
Oh, okay. I guess Isaiah Thomas.
But the second round left pick in the draft is not.
I'll add that too. But other than that, my goodness, it's just terrible. And you could blame Tim Donaghy because he kind of did screw them, because they would have probably beat the Lakers had they not cheated. But
cheated.
Well, the Lakers didn't. The Lakers
that
didn't
series, Walter,
intentionally
isn't
cheat.
after 06, though. That's my thing here. That series is still before 06, and the 06 is the last time they were in the playoffs.
Well, I know, but I'm saying that if they had won, maybe some things would have been different. I don't know.
That's fair.
But yeah, just terrible. Just you think the Kings? You think maybe they should be an MLS team or something right now?
So, Walter, you're agreeing with Calvin? Is that your number one team as well?
Yes, that's my number one team.
Whoa! Oh,
I agreed with Calvin on 1 and 3.
Go Pokes, baby! Walter's joining the Oklahoma State side.
Well, first off, the De'Aaron Fox situation. De'Aaron Fox is on a tear, if you guys haven't realized that this season. I mean, he's putting up career numbers, averaging 25 points a game, shooting just under 50% from that point guard position. I think he well deserved that contract. But if you really,
So here's my thing with De'Aaron Fox. So
he's going to want to leave, Joel.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the contract. I'm saying he deserves the contract, but it handicaps the team going forward because
he's a star. He's a star. I think he can make it all. He can be all-star next year.
No, I'm not saying not all-star, because all-star we're saying is top 30 guys in the league. I'm saying, like, at his peak, is he an all-NBA guy? Is he top 15 in the league?
Pushing it at 15, yeah, right. Okay. Right around 15.
Hey,
he can flirt with 15.
Okay.
But Joel, you're missing the point. In 2 years, he's going to demand a trade to go play for a contender. Like, he's not going to want to stay. You're right. He's good. He's not going to want to stay.
I just think he's going to need guys with him, and that's going to be impossible. Knowing, like, the Kings, it's just not going to be possible to get another guy.
Well, we named some cities already that obviously are having a tough time recruiting, players to get there already. So I think, with Sacramento, they, again, just like you were talking about Detroit, they got a young base that looks solid, has a lot of optimism going in for these next few years. Again, big on De'Aaron. You guys already know how I feel about Halliburton. I think that's an awesome combo to build around. Solid big man inside, Rashawn Holmes. If they can get rid of Harrison Barnes, as Calvin mentioned, Marvin Bagley, I'm shocked didn't get moved as loud as his dad was around the trade deadline. So get a couple of these guys out of there. Hopefully, like I said, bring some of the guys. And the Hassan Whiteside one just makes no sense. He doesn't fit at all. So, and obviously, a couple of those guys, Hassan Whiteside, obviously his contract expiring this year. So, you got some moves. I see some. I can be a little bit more optimistic with them than I can be with other teams. But so you guys had Sacramento as your number one worst NBA GM jobs. I am going to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Ooh.
Are you guys surprised by that?
So here's what I'd say. One, Walter, what are you moving some papers? Two.
No, not moving papers.
Sorry, I just had to ring it out. I think the way I worded the question was, what's the worst NBA job to take today, right? And we are all three going about this a little bit differently than maybe I originally thought of the question and asked it. I personally did not take the question the way I asked it. Joel did take the question the way I asked it, though, which is you taking over today. Not necessarily, so the past, the history doesn't matter much. The reason I think why that threw me for a curveball here is that when we talked about the Timberwolves, you mentioned they hadn't won a playoff series since however long back, right? So that kind of, right. So that kind of made me kind of push farther into that history aspect, which I totally get. But the Timberwolves there is a going forward thing. The Timberwolves are just going to be tough. But if they don't get the first overall pick this year, they'll be kind of okay, right? And the new ownership should have new expectations, all that type of stuff. So you might just get fired like within a year if new ownership doesn't like you. So I think that's why the Kings here. I'll change my technically speaking like background on this. Why going forward would suck too. It's because you haven't had a history of success. Timberwolves, you've got like a player that of recent memory at least to hang your hat on, right? You've got Karl Anthony Towns to come play with. You've got, etc. Cleveland Cavaliers right now. I think that's one that maybe I should have had instead of the Timberwolves, to be honest. Because you've got, you really, I have been a Kevin Love fanatic. He played at UCLA. He wears number 0, or has. I mean, he's a 2020 guy. I mean, I love Kevin Love. Like, I wish my game resembled his more, right? but it definitely pales in comparison whatsoever. There's no comparison. My game's much more like David Lee's than Kevin Love's, if anything. But 2,
nice name drop.
Thanks. Thank you. 2, the Cavaliers, like, I'm looking through all their stuff here. Like, I'd much rather have De'Aaron Fox or D'Angelo Russell or Anthony Edwards or a bunch of these other guys versus, Colin Sexton right now. And I don't think Colin Sexton's horrible. I'm not trying to say he's horrible. But, like, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, and Kevin Love, and then, like, why'd you do that Andre Drummond buyout? Because now you still have dead money. Just a bunch of questions here. The Cavaliers is a great choice.
Yeah, I obviously can't agree, Joel, because I have a Cleveland Browns jersey on right now.
Let's see it.
Thank you.
We can't see the video. Let's check it out.
Yeah, thank you again. Maybe in a later podcast. Thank you again. I'm glad
to get Walter a new phone. By the way,
I'm
podcast link in description.
Well, it's actually more for AirPods, because if we get AirPods, then I don't have to plug the phone in and the headphones in.
So we're gonna start a GoFundMe for $30 for some Bluetooth earbuds they sell at Walgreens.
Yeah, I bought the Calvin, listen, I bought the $30 headphones. The problem is when you put them in your ear, they're so oversensitive to touch that your ear will touch it and it will pause it, and then it'll mute you guys. So I've tried the $30 route. It hasn't worked. I think I just need the official AirPods. Then we'd be good to go.
All right. Nonetheless,
Yep.
Go ahead with the Cavaliers.
Yeah, the Cavaliers, as we all know, LeBron James has had 2 stints in Cleveland, and what I find is very ironic is the 2 times that LeBron has left the Cavaliers, that team has melted all the way down.
Okay, now this makes sense. Now it makes sense why Joel picked Cleveland. It's just to give LeBron more compliments. That's all. That's why he picked.
Look,
listen. LeBron's good. We get it. LeBron's a good player.
Listen, man. He obviously the first stint he did take the L to the original Big Three with the Celtics back in 2010, and right after they had a 61-21 season, and then right after that LeBron bounces and goes to Miami, and then sure enough Cleveland is one of the worst teams in the league with a 19-63 record. Here's what's funny: LeBron does the same thing to Cleveland, fresh off the unfortunate 2018 NBA Finals loss to the Warriors. And the next season, guess what the record was? 19-63, my guy. And then the following year, they got 19 wins, obviously, in the pandemic season. And this season, they got a couple more. They're at 21 wins this season. So LeBron was the Cavaliers, obviously, in these last 2 decades. And now if there's not a LeBron and a Cavaliers jersey, again, I'm big on that geography, and you're up north when it snows every darn day, that's a tough team to have set up for success.
Joel, you and I know that they would not have made that first NBA Finals without Drew Gooden and Boobie Gibson. You and I both know that.
Well, yeah, they did have to literally have 5 guys on the court to play an NBA game. You're correct.
Carried them, man. Carried all those guys.
I mean, are we saying Anderson Varejao was one of the main reasons?
That team had Daniel Marshall, bro.
Yeah.
Guy. Daniel Marshall.
Zadrunas Ilgauskas had a 30-pointer against Shaq once. You come talk to me.
Hey, come on, man. Did you not see that huge run that they had, obviously, against the Pistons right before the finals game? That was all LeBron James.
Yeah, I know. I gave LeBron credit for that, too, and now I'm taking it away, so.
Okay.
There we go.
There's that. Well, yeah, I think all 3 of us have a total of, I mean, we've set a total of 9 names, right?
Calvin, if I was to give a power ranking of these rankings, I would put yours as number 1 for this evening. I'd give mine second, and Joel's dead last. There's the power rankings for the worst GM jobs. You were number 1. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Honestly, much needed after this rough week on the job front. I had a rough week at work. Why is that so hard to say? Wow.
Yeah, I understand, Calvin. I understand.
You've been there before. We've heard
it. Yeah, you've heard about the rough days on the job. Joel had a rough day on the job. But yeah.
All right, so next topic we have here is, and Walter, I'm going to ask you to start off with here because you should be kind of fresh now that we let you go third on the NBA GM stuff, so it should be kind of front of mind. Who is your front runner for MVP?
Okay, am I going with number 3 or am I going with my number 1?
Honestly, man, it's how you want to lead it.
Okay, I'm going with my number 3.
Okay.
At number 3, Joel, are you listening?
Yes.
Okay,
He's
good.
Hey,
Walter.
We can see him actively looking at the camera. Is how we know he's listening.
Walter,
Yeah, okay.
just make sure they're in the NBA today.
Okay. Anywho,
Let me see.
at number 3, and this is unbiased. It has nothing to do with the fact that I just finished his documentary yesterday, which is fantastic, on HBO. The Day Sports Stood Still. Need to go check it out. At number 3, I have Chris Paul.
Okay.
Just here, what he's been doing. The Suns, obviously the second team in the West. I know it's not really showing up on the stat sheet, but having a full year watching him play for the Thunder, just the effects that he has on the team, the stuff he does that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. I just think he's really got a good chance this year to advance, much like he did with the Rockets before he pulled his hamstring. He's definitely healthier, and I just think he is leading this team really well. And it makes me upset thinking that I wonder if the roles had been reversed, if we could have convinced Devin Booker to demand a trade to the Thunder. If this Devin Booker had gotten to the Thunder, Chris Paul, Shea, Dennis, I think it would have been a phenomenal team. But we can only think.
You think 16, 8, and 5 can pull off an MVP?
I'm just saying, I told you, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet of what he's been doing. But he's been playing defense. He's been running the offense. And not to mention where the team was last year versus where they're at this year is all thanks to him. A big portion of it.
Fair enough.
So, I don't have Chris Paul at 3. I actually have Chris Paul still in my top 3, though. Joel.
Whoa!
Yeah, Joel, who do you have as your number 3?
Just from my number 3 just actually got entered in this past week. Man, this dude has been on a tear pretty much this whole month of April. Steph Curry. He's put up some.
Whoa,
I'm not done. I'm not done.
I'm going to raise my hand.
Put up some monster numbers lately. 49, 47, 33, 42, 53 with a huge win versus Denver. 38, 32, 41, 37, 36, 32. 3-pointers. Man, he's made, double-digit 3-pointers in 4 out of the last 5 games. 10 threes, 11 threes. And then, of course, 11 threes in Chesapeake Arena.
I would just like to remind Joel that 2 months ago when I had Steph Curry in my MVP race, you laughed at me.
I said I just entered it.
He just entered. Okay, how can
the last time we talked about it, he wasn't putting up those numbers, man. He didn't have he had 1 game, I think, with double-digit threes when we had that conversation. He's had 4 in the last 2 weeks.
He had a couple of 60-point games early on in the season, but okay.
Yeah, bookended with some 16 and some 24s as well, man. He's on a tear in April, man. He's earned it.
Nope, I agree.
All right. Well, with all that being said here, my number 3 is, and I kind of does pay me to say this, but it's on the same idea, at least, same wavelength as Steph Curry, at least as far as his team's record goes, and that's Luka Doncic. Just because it's really like Luka and the rest of the team is just. I mean, it's kind of goes off the same Steph Curry thing. Like, he may not have all the highlights in the entire world. He did have that buzzer beater the other night from 3 with, like, the step-through guys, which was insane. And the Mavericks have a really bad record. I mean, they should not be where they are. I think we're all aware of that. They should be a better team record-wise. But, nonetheless, it's my 3rd time saying that on this podcast. But Lucas just puts up insanely great numbers at the end of the day. I'm trying to get them pulled back up here again. Don't know why my computer decided to be very slow right now. But it's just a lot of fun also to watch Luka play basketball, and I think that goes into some of it too here. Like we're really, really into is this guy good or is he bad? And like I looked through NBA.com's power rankings. They don't have Chris Paul, period, on the list. They have Steph Curry at 9th. On the list here because clearly they're not giving any idea at all about guys playing less minutes, and that does factor in for me as well, right? Like if Joelle Embiid ends up playing, I think the rest of the season or whatsoever, he'd only played in 75% of his games this year, whereas the lowest amount of games percentage-wise that an NBA player's ever played in but still won the MVP is over 90, with, I think, Giannis being the most recent of that. So I got to say Luka at this point right now, he's averaging 28 points per game, 8 rebounds a game, and 8 assists per game, and 1 steal per game. So for all that matters, I mean, he's not averaging triple-double like Russ is, but at the same point, his team is in the playoffs right now. Not like Russ is, unfortunately, but he also is a 28, 8-8, basically. Walter, what about you? Where's your number 2 at? Or do you want me to go again with my number 2?
No, I can go with my number 2. My number 2 is going to be one Stephen Curry. Joel has kind of hit the hammer on the head there with all the great stats. Granted, they're only in the 10th spot right now, but he's just shooting the daylights out. Like they're doing the stuff when he was at Davidson, right? Where they're double teaming him even when he doesn't have the ball, and he's still managing to put up 50, 30, 40, 30 points a game with absolutely no help, and that includes Andrew Wiggins like completely airballing an open jump back shot the other night. So yeah, I'm going with Steph Curry, even though he's won back-to-back MVPs, first MVP that was unanimous voting. I'm going to go ahead and give him the nod at number 2 right now.
I'm also with the Luka pick. I want to say I'm also holding out hope that my preseason MVP rankings will come through. So I had Luka. I think I had KD number 1 overall, but Luka up there for sure. So, and Luka's team actually does have a better record than the Warriors, so I'll give it to him there. Joel, who's your number 2?
Well, this guy's number 2. He potentially could have been number 1. However, after watching a horrible defensive performance by this guy, he's number 2. And that is Joelle Embiid. So kind of hitting on, obviously, Steph Curry. They recently had a game playing out in Philly, and Steph Curry just blazed them in the most basic pick and roll. And you had Joelle Embiid time after time after time. Steph Curry, keep in mind, he hit 10 3-pointers in this game, and I swear he was dropping back every single time as the big man set the screen and just would be stuck and wouldn't step up and even contest the 3. So I was very disappointed. However, offensively, he is a magician with his size and skill set, putting up some monster numbers. Obviously, having Philadelphia with the number 1 seed in the East. So I'm going to go Joelle Embiid.
All right. My number 2 is it's kind of echo what Walter said here, but it is Chris Paul. Okay, so right now we're looking at the Suns.
Applause.
They are 42-17. You guys want to guess last year what their record was?
Well, it was close to 500.
Yeah, well, I'll say it this way. It was not more than 20 games over 500. Is maybe the best way to put it here, right? So clearly Chris Paul's addition. Now also Jameson Crowder joined the team as well too this season. Can't neglect him joining as well. But listen, Chris Paul's leadership, his on-court performance is amazing. But also the time he takes, like we're seeing in timeouts, all type of stuff here too. I think it's maybe Chris Paul should have been an honorable mention, but at some point Chris Paul's going to win. Yeah, I don't even want to say that. I don't know if Chris Paul's going to win an NBA championship. I'd like to see him at least win an MVP one year, to be honest. This year, of all years, maybe the year for Chris Paul to win it. He just doesn't have great splits. I mean, honestly, like you said, Joel, he doesn't have 20 games. Excuse me, he doesn't have 20 points per game. The Suns are playing extremely well, but like Devin Booker's leading scorer, all that type of stuff too, right? So it's kind of like, how do you measure Chris Paul's success statistically? When in the past, we have definitely looked at Giannis' stats to give him the MVP nod, right? So we looked at Russ's stats in 2017 to give him the MVP nod because he averaged a triple-double. So it's hard to figure out how you're going to measure Chris Paul's stats to get him in the MVP conversation or more into it. But I think it's definitely at least worthy of acknowledging and mentioning too here. They are 2 games back of first place in the Jazz. But you've won 42 games. Like, that's, a team with Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker has the same amount of wins as a Kawhi Leonard, Paul George team. Like, that's baffling. That's insane. And the reason why I throw in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard is because those guys have been healthy for most of the season. They've sat out here and there, but the Lakers I'm not bringing up in this conversation because they have had LeBron and AD being injured for most of the season. Or at least at this point, it's definitely a significant amount of time. Whereas the Suns haven't really had any guys injured. Jazz haven't either, but the Clippers haven't as well. So the Suns to have a better record statistically because they have 2 less games played but 2 less losses than the Clippers is something I want to add in too. So Chris Paul.
Just to add to Chris Paul and what Calvin's saying, his documentary skills are on point. The Day the Earth Stood Still, Game Changers is another great documentary, and I think he's also working on another one to come out on ESPN Plus. So those 3, I think you add 20 points per game to his scoring. So I think that's the tangible. That's how much you add to it. So technically, he's averaging 30, 40 points a game, which gives him the nod. Calvin's shaking his head in agreement.
Oh yes, I am. We can see me though. You don't have to give the people.
Yeah. Again, sorry,
Are you
folks.
shaking your head in acknowledgement at any point? You got to let.
Yeah. Okay. I will verbally announce my agreement. I did when you said the Kings, I went crazy, and when you said Chris Paul, I went crazy.
Well, yeah. Just say we get the audio. We just don't get the visual. All right. Well, Joel, have you gone first yet? Who's your number 1 overall MVP frontrunner right now?
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. This is Mr. Triple Double himself.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah.
No. Nikola Joker Jokic. Who has improved each and every season. This man is in his 6th season.
I'm shaking my head no.
Yeah, we heard Walter get extremely excited.
I'm shaking my head no.
This man has elevated his game each and every season, averaging career highs, 26 points per game, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, flirting with that triple-double average, and shooting 42% from the three-point line. Again, with those 15 triple-doubles, Nuggets are, as we speak, it looks like, 4th in the West, I believe. We confirm that. They are 4th in the West. Yes, that is correct. And something that's been really impressive again recently, and I know me and Calvin have a current bet going on involving the Denver Nuggets. Again, this is not looking great for my bet. However, it is looking good for my projection of Nikola winning the MVP, only because LeBron and AD have missed so many games this season, or else we all know every LeBron won in 82. The Nuggets are undefeated, 4-0 since Jamal Murray went down with that knee injury up in Golden State back on April 12th. And I think that's pretty impressive. Wins include over Miami and as recently as last night on the road at Portland last night. So, again, I'm real big on when players go out really seeing the value. Again, I think we all considered Murray, the second best player, and arguably still could be, but with him going down, again, you got Joker stepping up, even had a 47-point game in a double overtime matchup on Monday night, and I think Joker is definitely solidifying his opportunity to win an MVP with LeBron and AD having injuries this season.
I want to add one more thing in here as well while we're on the subject of Joel and I making a bet. So far, the other bet we made was the Wizards being one of the teams in the play-in tournament. And I'd like to say here, shout out to Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Garrison Matthews, Rui Hachimura, Denny Avdija, or however you say it.
I think he broke his leg, though.
Yeah, poor Danny. Broke his leg.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what, though? His at least mental support is helping the team win, because since we made this bet, Joel, neither the Nuggets nor the Wizards have lost. I feel like I should go buy a lottery ticket right now. I've gotten very lucky because the Nuggets almost lost last night. That was a close game against Portland. So
but time out though. The Wizards during that time span played the Pelicans, Pistons, and OKC Thunder. Just throwing it out there.
Hey, the OKC Thunder are playing really well. I think they're up to 13 wins in a row now.
Well, they better take care of business tomorrow night.
No, 12.
It's another matchup in Chesapeake Arena, at least currently Chesapeake Arena versus the Wizards tomorrow night.
Well, actually, I was watching SportsCenter earlier on this week, and they had NBA streaks going on. They were talking about MLB streaks or whatever, and they're like, the Oakland A's have the longest streak going with 11 wins in a row. And I was like, hang on, pump the brakes. The Thunder have lost 12 in a row. I understand you're probably just talking about winning, but the Thunder have lost 12 in a row. How are we not going to bring up the Thunder here as one of the streaks? Because they're having this whole streak thing with like Fordham Cubes and, it's one from each sport. But anyways,
Again,
Thunder
Calvin,
going for Tank City here. They're really trying to see if they can get maybe their pick and that Houston pick, if it falls in the right spot, to package up for the number 1 if needed.
You're saying the Thunder have lost 12 in a row. I don't see it as losing 12. I see it as winning 12. So I guess a little tomato, but I say they're on a 12-game winning streak.
I think I can just
it's looking good
because it says the letter L next to it. But I think it is a loss that we would rather have this year, the loss.
Hey, but while we're on, I got to pick at Walter's brain though for a second, since we're on this topic. Where's Russell Westbrook at right this second?
Where do I think he's at in the city?
Yes, because he's obviously in Oklahoma City right this second. And you are the biggest Russell fanatic I've ever met in my entire life. You monitor this man's Twitter page more than an ex-girlfriend. Where's he at right now?
Hang on, I'm going to check Instagram.
It's a very... I would imagine he's probably, just because of COVID, I haven't kept track. I would imagine he's at his hotel. Just being honest, their health and safety protocols... He's had COVID before. I would imagine that he's probably at a hotel. Unfortunately.
Did he for sure sell his house on the north side?
I thought he did. I thought he heard he sold.
I don't know if he did or not.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he sold his house. I don't like to bring that up, Joel. I like to think that he still lives in Oklahoma.
Can I ask you guys a question though? And this is actually just it's a weird question. I understand here, but it's kind of serious. Why are we not talking about Russell Westbrook here at all in comparisons to like being one of the better players helping his team out this year in the NBA? Is it because he has Bradley Beal and Steph Curry doesn't have a number 2 guy whatsoever? But Russ is average. The reason why I'm bringing this up, he's again still averaging a triple-double. Still has played in more than 50 games, right? So check box 1 and box 2 there. And his team has, granted, not the same record, but his team is also like 10th seed in the playoffs. And the other team that's the 10th seed is the Warriors. So, granted, it's not as flashy. He's not putting up as many points, but he's averaging the triple-double. I just understand. Is because he has Bradley Beal on his team to help him out?
And that man shoots 30% from the 3-point line. That's horrific.
And I understand also his team is like 25 and 33, whereas Steph Curry's is 29 and 30. So the Warriors are almost at 500 or 1 game under, and the Wizards are much farther under 500. It just is interesting to me that no one's brought up like the... Well, listen, like I'm not saying Russ should be in the MVP conversation. I'm just saying it's not been horrible for the Wizards to have Russell Westbrook this year, maybe. And I don't know why I hear that more than not.
Obviously, they've gotten hot recently.
Mm-hmm.
What's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? What 8 out of last 9? Is that what it is right now?
Yeah.
So they gotten hot recently, but prior to April 7th, they were a disaster. Now, Bradley Beal's a piece of it as well. Obviously, being one of the top scorers in the league. To be honest, I think Westbrook's, I hate to say it, but he's almost watering down the effect of triple doubles. It feels like he had the MVP year, and then he keeps doing it. We're like, it's just Russell. He's just doing it again. Like, it's almost not as special as it was prior to Westbrook making it happen here in OKC and averaging it for the season.
All right.
Look, Calvin, I've been
here at minute 53 of the podcast, I also had Nikola Jokic as my number 1 for MVP. just to be clear, my power rankings early in the season, I had Nikola Jokic there. I'm keeping the faith. Go ahead, Walter.
I was just going to say, I've been preaching the book of Russell Westbrook for some time now. He's obviously the greatest point guard in the history of the NBA. So you will never hear a bad thing about Russell from me.
Thank you.
But my number 1, I'm just gonna slide it in there. Joel can reject it if he wants. I've got Joelle Embiid. He would have won the MVP had he hit that 90-foot shot at the buzzer.
That was crazy. I'm not even gonna lie.
I think it should have counted
10 times. That was crazy.
I watched it
0.8 seconds.
Every ESPN angle I watched it at. And the first one they showed, it's like, oh, it was close. The second one they showed was like, oh, it was really close. The third one they showed was, oh, this thing was in the bucket. And that's just, man.
Yeah, so if he had hit that shot, MVP race is over. He would have won it. But, he's going to go do his thing. He's going to go help the Thunder Monday night.
What?
Wait,
what?
the Thunder are going to lose every game in April.
He plays the Thunder on Monday.
Yeah.
76ers Thunder Monday.
What's the Tinkathon saying right now?
The Thunder lose to the 76ers?
No, I'm saying right this second, though. That's the game's in the future. What is it right now?
Great question. On the fly here.
I thought you were on it, man. I thought this was your thing.
Hey.
The Thunder are currently the 5th worst team in the NBA, I believe.
Well, Calvin talks about it every podcast. I thought it was a screenshot on his background of his phone. Every day he updated that screenshot.
I take the screenshot. It's not the background on my phone, though. I just hope that at some point I get to be like, hey, one of my Tinkathon screenshots was great. And I blow up on Twitter. Woohoo! Anyways, that's my hope there. So it's not going to happen. But Thunder, I like how they are in very light green with the lost 12. Orlando with a close green as well, lost 4. Portland also lost 3. Okay, Walter, I think this is the segment that we've all been waiting for. We knew it was coming from you, from me, and one from Joel, so we'll let him lead it off here. But that is the Thunder new arena name sponsor ideas. Joel, I'll let you. You got one, I think. You're the
There's
Lakers
one.
fan of us, so let us know what it is.
Yeah, this renaming, the Thunder screwed it up years ago when they picked Chesapeake Arena. They had an opportunity to make it happen. Obviously, I'm a little bit older than you guys. Going to Bricktown was my thing back in late high school and during college and early 20s and all that. And for anybody that's broke during that time, there's one place to eat in Bricktown, Oklahoma, and that is our beloved Sonic. And they messed up by not making it happen. And so you got a second chance. Oklahoma City or whoever's responsible for making this naming, I have no idea. You guys know more about this, but I need to see it for 2 reasons. Because I love me some Sonic. That's some good high school, college memories. Eating over there, and then it'll also jab at Seattle, and let's make it happen. Sonic Arena.
Joel, I thought you were going to say the hot
Sonic
dog
Arena.
stand. I thought you were going to say the hot dog stand that we ate at the
Sonic's a little bit. No, I could get a whole combo meal Sonic for as much as I paid for that hot dog, but that was a good hot dog, though. I ain't gonna lie. That saved you. That saved you a drive home. That allowed you to get drive home.
That was a good hot dog, surprisingly. But yeah, you were right. It was a little overpriced. They were taking advantage of the drunkies from the bar.
Yeah.
All right, Walter, you want to hit us with one of yours? No.
Yeah, I like the Sonics just because to make fun of the fact that they used to be the Sonics and the people in Seattle are still bitter. But my number one is the Oklahoma City Omniplex Arena. Yeah, since the Science Museum disgraced themselves, embarrassed themselves to rename themselves the Science Museum. I want this right. I want this vindicated. I want Chesapeake to be renamed the Omniplex. Thank you and good night.
My family listens to these podcasts, right?
I've told your family that I've disagreed greatly about changing the name. It grew up Omniplex, and that's what it needs to stay.
I have a family member who at one point was helpful with changing the name of Omniplex to the Science Museum, Oklahoma, which I think is a much more fitting name if you're not from Oklahoma and you're trying to figure out what the name of that place is. But I don't know. I don't have too much more to say on that one. I know you're trying to get at me. God, it just threw off my whole line of thinking.
You ruined my childhood by changing that name, Calvin.
I did not, personally. Okay? You can write a strongly worded letter to whoever you want to, and we can figure out what their opinions are. It's too late.
That's why I'm going to do this. I feel like this is a better chance of getting done than getting the Science Museum renamed back. Although I do agree, if you're from out of town and you're saying, let's take the kids to the Omniplex, they'll be like, what the heck is that? I do agree with that.
Well,
it's just that's just not a great issue, pressing issue to me. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Well,
I do apologize to your family again.
Thank you so much. Mine was, and it's under one caveat though. It's Love's Fueled Up Arena. And the caveat, though, is that Love's has to take their logo and put it over the whole entire outside brick wall of the Thunder Arena. And I'm not saying like multiple different logos. I'm saying one gigantic logo to resemble how big their patch is on the Thunder jerseys. This logo has to be just as big here on the actual Thunder Arena. I swear, there are multiple other organizations. Like Flagstar is the jersey patch sponsor for the Detroit Pistons, right? You know what Flagstar does? They are the color red. Do you know what the Pistons, one of their main primary colors is? Red. So it goes together on almost every, like it blends in with the jersey. Thunder don't really have any jerseys where it's just yellow and red and black and like a little bit of like orangish blue or whatever. Like the Thunder don't have a jersey that's all of those colors all at once. So the jersey patch is just insane.
Well, Calvin, you know why the jersey patch is so big, right?
It's to overcompensate for the amount of hate that the Love's family member who yelled at LeBron James has.
No, that's a good point. No, it's just because Tom and Judy Love, Judy is the one that yelled at LeBron, are so old, they had to make the patch big enough for them to see.
Hey, you know what? That's worth of...
Yay! All right.
I like how you guys can now hear the sound effects when I use them. Yeah. Shout out to getting these things on video. But, yeah, Love's Field Up Arena. Walter, what's your next one here?
I'm going to go with, just get it out of the way, rename the arena after the man who built it, Russell Westbrook. So you go Russell Westbrook Thunder Arena. I think you get that out of the way.
Oh, my God.
Yes. As Joel is scruffing down some dessert there. He was so excited he had to stop mid-chew to agree with me, and he's agreeing right now, shaking his head. Yeah, just get it out of the way. Just rename it Russell Westbrook. We all know, what he's done for the Thunder. Just get it out of the way. Do it for free too.
No, do not do it for free. If you're gonna do anything, do it. It's the Why Not Arena for the foundation, at least.
Yeah, there we go. But not make the foundation pay anything.
Well, yeah, that's it's a non-profit, so that'd be the idea, right?
Hey, Joel, what were you eating there? Can we get a little insight as to what was getting scruffed done?
Oh, a little Mexican bread.
Oh, nice.
It's like the hour mark of a podcast, and immediately just goes off the rails as hard as I try to steer it back on every time. It just goes completely, like, sideways left, jumped on a jet ski, and started flying away. Like, I'm just saying, that's how far off the rails we go.
Here we go. I've always called it Mexican bread, but I've actually learned, and I've already forgotten, the Spanish word for it. I learned it while I was in Colorado. I had no idea that it was called this. I've already forgotten it, but I wish I remember. But yeah, no, good stuff. Especially if you get it fresh. You have to get it fresh. The place I used to go to, they used to like ship it in. It was like, it wasn't quite stale, but it was getting hard. You know what I'm talking about, Joel?
Oh, yeah. You got to go to the right panderia to make it happen.
Yeah, that's the word. That was the word, I think. Yep. There we go.
Well, that's where you get it at. You're probably talking about pan dolce.
Oh, that's it. Yep, no, pan dolce. Yep, that's it. Yep, my terrible Spanish.
Yeah, mine's pretty rough too, but I got it.
They sell that down the street from me here at El Mariachi Supermercado.
Hey, that's a good spot.
It is a good spot. Do not go there almost at any point. Just bring a flashlight with you. It is very dim inside. The lights are not working fully. Anyways, I am going to steer us back on track. I swear. My other name ideas, I guess here, was the 4044 arena for I-40 and I-44 that go through Oklahoma City. Not that original, or of a great that of an idea. Why name it after a freeway that everyone hates? But hey, just thought I'd throw it out there. And the last one here is the kicking bird, or something to do with our scissors tail flying catcher. State symbol, I guess, right? Like, it's not going to happen. It's not necessarily a sponsor, but when you think of Oklahoma, I think you think of Loves and Sonic, and that's kind of the sponsors you think of come out of Oklahoma before Chesapeake or Devon. And both of those guys are not in the great financial situation to make that happen, of course. So that's what I'd go with. An honorable mention here, I don't know, there's probably like a Sledgehammer or a company that has the word Thunderdome in their name. So the Thunderdome would be great as well, if they can make it happen, which I don't know what sponsor name would be. I'm just throwing it out there. It's an idea. It's an idea.
Can we bring back the classic Ford Center back? Is that even an option?
No! Oh gosh,
what?
Joel, no!
What?
No!
Come
no,
on!
That is one I am. I was always mad about the Ford Center. Don't get me started. We'll go on a tangent just because.
Does that have to do with the Lakers versus Nuggets?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Hey, that was a good one, though.
It's a good game.
But you know that's a milestone in our connection. You remember that story, right?
Yes.
You keep talking about this SAS Douglas game where they whooped the hell out of y'all. That actually wasn't the first moment where we met, man.
Yes, I know. I remember we met. I remember when my mom walked me down to Albertsons to buy the tickets to that game. I think they were $10 a pop, and first taste of NBA game, and I never looked back. Wow.
So bring it back. So it has bring it back, man. Get behind it. Let's push it, man. If we can't get Sonic Arena, let's go forward.
I'd rather go with a Tesla.
You and I both have owned Ford vehicles and had great success with both of them to varying degrees.
Yeah, we sure did, Calvin.
Yeah, you and I both at one point have owned Ford vehicles, and we've had very successful operations, times, driving experiences. Yours was a Raccoon, right? Raccoon. Mine was several different issues all at once, all together, but mainly wiring issues.
And mine would just die. Mine would just die. Like, it wouldn't die on a highway, but as you would approach a stoplight, it would just die. And I could never figure out what was going on with it.
It's a bad alternator. We've been over this. Anyways, sorry. Walter, do you want to go ahead and take it away here with the power rankings?
Well, I had one. I know we could do another podcast. I did have one last one. We could do a full podcast. Maybe we will on what the arena name should be. But I'm going to go with my last one, the Velveeta Cheese Palace. I love that. Love that idea.
What's that do with Oklahoma?
Loyal Thunder fans know how much Velveeta Cheese loves Lou Dort and is always tweeting about him. They've also developed a Velveeta jersey for the Thunder. Velveeta Cheese Palace. Yep, let's make it happen.
Listen, the Twitter account guy who works for Velveeta, props on choosing your NBA team to beat the Thunder. I mean, thank you.
It's awesome.
Your headquarters are not in Oklahoma. You have little representation in Oklahoma besides basically this Twitter account, which, again, congrats. I know the phrase eat liquid gold instead of it's really not cheese in Velveeta, but it's just an odd thing. I don't understand it much. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but either way, I don't want the cheesy arena, right? I want it to be we're coming to you live from the Thunderdome. You know,
Cheese Palace, not arena.
Cheese Palace. Sorry.
I mean, we're not Detroit with what did you call it? The Little Caesars Cheese Pizza Arena.
It's a Little Caesars Arena.
Why would they? This is a lot better than that. A lot better than that. This is the Velveeta Palace.
The Cheesy Palace, I feel like, is worse than Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Anyways, all right. Are we ready?
Hey, it sounds like the real option is going to be Paycom. Is that right?
That's it, yeah.
Oh,
Paycom,
gosh, boring.
Paycom loves... I liked how people on Twitter were trying to get OnQ or Quick Trip when it's like, do you guys not see that literally the sponsor name on every Thunder jersey is Loves? Why would you put...
Oh, yeah, that's
store
true.
to sponsor the arena that the team...
That would be pretty funny, though.
Yeah, coming from OnQ Arena, you know, I mean, I feel like that'd be pretty good. OnQ Energy. Anyways, Walter, are you ready here for your power rankings?
Yes, and just so listeners know, you're the one that actually said this idea, and I think it's phenomenal, and I'm very excited.
Thank you, sir.
So we are going to go with the power rankings for the top 5 basketball accessories tonight. Joel, are you ready?
Oh my God, here we go.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
3 minutes this time, dude. 3 minutes.
Okay. All right,
there are 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in this song.
I did want to preface that I was going to go top 5 basketball accessories for Poku that I like, just to make Calvin mad. Number 1 was obviously going to be the fanny pack. Obviously, I'm going to listen to Calvin this time. I'm not going to do that. So this is the top 5.
Hey, if you were trying to accessorize your son, I wouldn't have blamed you.
Okay. So here we go. All right, you may start the timer now, Joel. Okay, coming in at number 5, we have the socks. Okay, now the socks are the most underrated equipment. Now, socks are important just because not only do they help you with taping your ankles and keeping your shoes from smelling, but the high ankle sock or the high calf sock actually helps restrict the movement, making your less tension on your muscles. For people that don't know, the NBA rule, which I think has changed or they're laxed on, dictates that everyone on the team has to wear the same color, and that color can be white, it can be black, or it can be one of the team's colors. And I'd just like to say, look what Calvin's showing. That is obvious that we've come a long way from the 1970s tube socks. Very important. A lot of NBA players actually wear 2 pairs of socks.
And number 4.
Okay, coming. All right. I like your excitement, Joel. Coming in at number 4, we have the referee whistle. Hear me out.
What?
The referee whistle.
Dude,
you love it.
Basketball players we're talking about. Dude,
you love it. You hate it at the same time. It's just like the tequila I'm probably going to be breaking in tonight. I'm going to love it when it's going down. I'm going to hate it when it's coming out, if you know what I mean. The referee whistle. You love it, but you hate it at the same time.
No wonder you
have
a time getting to work.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Coming in. Okay, Joe, you ready? Did you like that one? You didn't like that one. That's okay.
All right, what's 3? What's 3?
Okay.
4 doesn't necessarily work as a topic.
Okay. Here we go. All right. I'm excited for number 3. I think you're going to like number 3. Number 3 is headbands. Don't get me wrong.
That should be number 1.
Different than head ties. Head ties would be higher on my list. Calvin knows how much I love the head ties, but unfortunately the NBA has banned head ties just due to safety concerns. So at number 3 we have the headbands. Now I am going to break out here a little bit. I'm going to give you my power rankings, the top 5 players that have worn a headband. So real quick. I know I'm up against the clock. Number 5 we have Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby always wore a good headband. Number 4, earlier today, we were already discussing Drew Gooden. You don't get me wrong, Drew Gooden always rocked a good headband.
Hey, nice name drop.
Yeah. Number 3, we have LeBron, who had to stitch like 3 of those bad boys together. So number 3, we have LeBron. Number 2, the man himself, Allen Iverson, looked great in a headband.
How's that not number 1?
And number 1, number 1.
This better not be dumb. This better not be dumb, dude.
Number 1.
Iverson's number 1.
Okay, all right, wait. Before we go off to number 1, I'm going to read you my honorable mentions. Wilt Chamberlain, Al Harrington, Zach Randolph, Rajon Rondo almost made honorable mention. Did not quite make honorable mention, but he's honorable mention. And that leads us to number 1. We have Carmelo Anthony rocking the headband. Rocking it since Syracuse, Joel. You gotta love it. Thunder, great. Carmelo Anthony.
But he wouldn't have been wearing it at Syracuse if it wasn't for Iverson wearing it at Philly, though. So you messed that one up. Yeah, Iverson.
No, you can agree. We can agree to disagree. I didn't mess anything up. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have compression underwear with the pads. Most important thing I learned playing basketball is when you're going up and you're falling down and you are not going to land on your feet, and then you have that moment of relaxation when you realize, I've got pads I'm going to land on and I'm going to be okay and save my butt.
Wait, have you worn these like when we've been just playing pickup?
Yes.
Like outside?
Yes, I have worn them playing pickup before.
So this makes a lot more sense. So on several podcasts, I've introduced Walter as like the bruiser or the guy driving in the hoop, all type of stuff, whatever. Well, now I understand he's wearing padding. That's why I'm not doing it. So
yeah,
I need to accessorize this way.
Yep. Nope. Yeah. Trust me, Calvin. It gives you comfort, helps with your mobility, and then also when Scotty goes up to foul you and knocks you down, you don't have to worry about breaking your tailbone.
Thank you. Good to know.
Yep. Okay. All right. Here we go. Are we ready? Joel, you look really excited for this number 1. I think you're antsy. You're kind of a little nervous. Okay. All right. Number 1, we have the water bottle. But not just any. How the
hell do you have the freaking water bottle referee whistle, man? Come on.
Hey, Joel, the water bottle is the most important thing. You have to be hydrated in order to play this great game. But it's not just any water.
Water is number 1?
No, it's the water bottle. Hear me out, Calvin, because it's not just any water bottle. It's the Gatorade water bottle. That way you can pass it with your teammates and you can squeeze without having to get the cap. You know what I'm saying? You just squeeze it. The water shoots into your mouth. That way you can can have, you're not just drinking straight after your teammate and just shoot it. It's great. And it's also fun to do. You get a lot of water. Like I said, you need water to play. Now, the only downside is I caught multiple times our old equipment manager filling up those damn Gatorade water bottles in the sink of our locker room, of our bathroom in our locker room, which is absolutely disgusting and nasty. So there we go.
Walter, you gotta get the shoes, man.
Shoes.
No. The Gatorade, the Air Jordan 6.
Oh,
Air Jordan 6 Gatorade.
Yeah, Paul George also came out with some Gatorade shoes as well.
Did he?
Yeah, just recently.
But you didn't get those either.
Yeah, but yeah,
you didn't even get the PlayStation ones.
Yeah, I'm still working on getting the PlayStation shoes. As everyone knows, I've got PlayStation on my list. Katie Weatherman, Kobe Grinch, Kobe Bruce Lee. Those are the shoes that I'm working on getting.
Okay.
But yes, as far as basketball equipment, I did give some consideration to the basketball shoe itself. I just felt these were more important.
Well, so I understand the idea of like not, because if you say basketball shoe, then you also say basketball. It's like accessories, right? Because like it's a given, I guess everyone's going to wear shoes and have a basketball to play the sport. Just the referee whistle is what threw me for a loop.
Oh God, I love the sound of a referee whistle. When it's for me, when it's against me, I'm infuriated. I'm probably getting thrown out of the game.
So I have never loved the sound of a referee whistle. And I guess that's our experiences with it.
You walk in, you smell the gym, you smell the popcorn, you hear the buzzer on the scoreboard, and you hear a referee whistle. That's just the sights and sounds of basketball.
Well, there you go. Those are the sights and sounds of basketball, right?
So there you go. Number 3 on the list. Number 4. Don't confuse me, Joel. Sorry. Number 4. The referee whistle.
I tell you, I don't think Joel's confusing you.
Yeah. I think with next power ranking is I need to do a power ranking on some of my previous power rankings.
No, we're good.
I feel like the next power rankings should be NBA players to never win a title. We should just kind of butcher this, kind of give more direction, because your energy and enthusiasm for doing the power rankings is unmatched, unparalleled. My power rankings were much more statistical, and I always love your power rankings no matter what, Walter. Every single time you do them, even when it was about Poku's fanny pack, your son, it was still funny to me. It was hilarious. But I feel like, you doing... It's so funny because it's unexpected and surprising. So I guess we'll get that, right? It surprises all of us.
No, I try to keep you on your toes, provide some interesting information.
I appreciate
Keep Joel entertained.
Exactly, yeah. You think he's got to wear that damn Dodger hat when they're losing 2-0 to the Padres right now.
Yeah, I know he doesn't have that LA sign in his grass anymore.
Hey, it's coming back, man. That was the 2021. I'm going to get a good 2021, but the Dodgers are 14-4, my guy. Better than the Padres.
I am fully aware the Padres won 1 out of the 3 games here. They're going into this weekend here, almost at 500. So, Padres and Dodgers 4 games in a row. We'll see what they can do.
Dodgers,
Padres,
best record in baseball.
Hey, listen to the podcast they recorded earlier today, right before this one. Not much to take from it. Early MVP, early MLB stuff, right? Padres are a game over 500. I'm not going to take that into full account. Anyways, with that being said, please follow
Let's go Red Hawks
Tour on Twitter and Instagram for more. And please follow at the CGA Tour on Instagram too. So thank you guys again for listening, and we'll catch you again very soon here.
Hey, y'all trying to go to OKC Dodgers game?